Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So the last video you guys would have saw, there was a lot of updating going on. We got the shop pretty much ready to roll. We painted everything. We got a new welding table set up. Everything's set up and dialed in. Ran extra power that I had to run. I even took the time because we were having so much water come in because we had a hailstorm that I took the time to go and finally pick up these 12-foot panels, which is hard when you only got an 8-foot trailer, but we got it done. Luckily, I got customers who understand stuff, so this car was put on hold for a while, but now it's running, it's back together. I just gotta finish up the fuel pump wiring. Again, like I said, this car, from me to this owner, got pretty hacked up. You'll see this wiring situation where there's just a hole cut. There's holes drilled all over this poor car, but getting it good. I'll try to insert a video here of it running. And hopefully this will be the last time I see it for a while, and then we'll get that big turbo 180 in. So what we're going to be doing today is just tearing right into the 3.6. Like I said, I had a bunch of weird issues with oil pressure and stuff like that. At this point, it's been beat on, over revved. I've lost oil pressure for many reasons. So what we're going to be doing today is pulling off this pan, checking the rod bearings, replacing them, straining my oil because it is pretty new oil. And I do want to look at this oil pressure relief valve if I get the chance. I might just leave it, I don't know. But first thing to do, drain the oil. That stock housing, we're just gonna do away with that, and I'm just gonna buy a billet version, and then it'll just have a screw-on filter. That way I never have to look at the filter again, because now every time I pull the filter I always look in there and find stuff I don't like. So I'll just screw the filters on and off and be done with it. Right now we're about to flip the motor over and pull the pan off and then see what the bearings look like. We did see that there was a O-ring malfunction on this crossover pipe. Not really a malfunction, you can just see that the O-rings are getting blown out. Either too much oil pressure, or it's probably not the right O-ring, because I think I ordered the right O-rings and they were wrong. So, oh well, that could have been a weird spike or drop, whatever. Rate it number 1, number 6, and I'm gonna take them apart and we'll see if they're cooked. Let's see. Nothing I can feel. Nothing feels crazy. There's definitely trash that's been running through it, but the coating is doing its job. Crank looks pretty good. Don't see any issues with that. Just need a nice cleaning. Same here. There's been trash running through it, which I know because every time I pull the oil filter, there's trash in it. I don't know where it's coming from. That's the only problem. You can see there's been trash running through it. I don't know where it's coming from yet. I might have to dive deeper into it, but as of right now, these first 2 rod bearings are fine. Both bearings so far look good. I'm just gonna go through just like I'm just replacing bearings. So if I find anyone that's cooked, I'll show you guys, but I'll if none of them are cooked, I'll show you how they all look in the end. But you can see the bearing coating is definitely doing its job. The oil always has like this weird like aluminum shaving dust in it, so I need to figure out what that is, because that's going through these bearings. So as of right now, I'm perfectly fine with all these rod bearings. I don't think there was, I could have still run them, but I'm in there. I'm just gonna put new ones in, clean everything out once again, and then I guess, I don't know, I guess I gotta pull timing covers. Right now I'm just, I don't know what to do. There's lots of aluminum, so it seems like aluminum dust. I would really like to find the source of it. So yeah, last bearings, just gonna throw them in, throw them together, put all the bottom end stuff back together, and then I'll flip it over, take the timing cover stuff apart, and go from there, I guess. So just diving in a little bit further, you see I took the timing cover off to try to see. There was some weird plastic in the pan, but I kind of think that it was just a guide that I missed before it went and was clogging up the pickup tube. But right now I found like 2 little pieces and they weren't even in the pickup tube anymore. There's nothing in here that shows wear right now, so I'm gonna say that the timing situation is good. I did take off this vacuum pump delete plate, and you can kind of see it. It's hard, but this was definitely a source of some of the aluminum. You see that indent? Basically, this is the fuel pump drive, and you need it in there even when I don't have a fuel pump or nothing like that, but it still has to be in there for timing. So this little post has been coming out and eating into this vacuum pump delete plate. This is a very crude piece. I'm thinking about chopping this off. I don't think it'll be that hard, but there's nothing else aluminum wise that I see that would be wearing into anything. I did get that oil pressure relief valve out. It's a T55, and there's also a crush washer on the end of it. It goes right here into the back of the oil pump. Everything's hard to see. I don't see anything crazy. It was nice and free moving, and there's a ton of spring pressure on this. Here's how it goes. This little like nipple end, that's what fits into the plug, and then the spring just goes in here, and that's it. It's a really simple device. One thing that is weird is like it doesn't appear to be any kind of metal. It's more of like composite. So I don't know if going forward if these will be an issue. Like I don't see anything crazy on it. I'm just gonna put it back together, put it in. At this point, I'm fine with just calling it and putting the motor back together. I do have a special part coming. You see I have the oil filter housing out down there. That thing's been giving me a bunch of headaches. I've done everything to kind of bulletproof it, but it still wound up cracking, probably because I had the pressure sensor hanging off the side. But anyway, that's gone. I ordered a nice billet piece, so hopefully it'll still be in this video and we'll get that in. You see I got all my parts cleaned. Another thing I am changing is I took out the baffle. So I found that the baffle was actually coming apart and little bits of plastic were everywhere, and I was finding them in the bottom of the pan. So that's one other thing that I found that was an issue. The baffle, it's not even really a baffle, it's more of a windage tray. Remember, I'm just going in a straight line, so I don't think it'll be an issue. As long as I have enough oil in here and I don't completely overfill it, I don't think there will be any dramatic effect of removing that windage tray. The windage tray is basically so the crank doesn't smack the oil and make it all frothy. These things take like, I think it's 5 liters. I usually put like 6 in, and I will do 1 pass at the track, and we will see if there's any deviation in oil pressure. And if there's not, from all the G's, then we'll stay with that. Other than that, I did get the OEM O-rings. I'm waiting for them to come in. You can only get them through the dealer. I'll show you them when they come in. These O-rings were actually really hard to get, so I just gotta wait for them to come in. But the oil filter housing should be here, and we'll just do a little install video of that, and then we'll get this motor back together, buttoned up, and back in the car hopefully by the end of this video. I did want to show one thing is I always get a lot of questions about what to seal timing covers with. This is what I always use. It's the Victor Rhines. It's called anthracite. It's just gray, but this stuff's really good, and I have never had a leak with it. Taped up every orifice for oil, and I am about to chop this off. So here's a razor blade going across, and you can indeed see that it hits. And you can now see how much clearance I actually have. That's tough, but I have plenty of clearance now. Here's the new billet part I was talking about. This is a billet oil filter housing. Now this is going to replace the old cartridge style. It comes a time when, you know, pulling the filter is always a mess. Parts start failing, cracking, all that kind of stuff. And then a lot of times people like turbo cars. So this one actually comes with it's like a Banjo AN or something right here on the front. And so you could have like a turbo feed line going over here, and then you would still have ports over here for everything else. M10, M10, these are OEM sensors. So if you have like your OEM oil pressure, oil temp, that kind of thing, they just go right in there. But in my case, I only need one NPT. It does come with an NPT plug, and you also can get it with a plug up here. So all I'm going to be using is just this one single NPT port, because I did get that low dollar pressure and temperature solenoid. So now we're just gonna have one sensor in there, nice and easy. And then you also, since it's now a screw-on style filter, it makes it so much nicer that you can use 180T oil filters. Another good thing about this is that you'll see the oil filter. So there's only one port in here that's not filtered. So you see that one port that's open. This one is not filtered, but the turbo feed line is filtered. The M10 over here is filtered, and the NPT is filtered. Oil has to come down. It comes down through here, into the filter, back up through the filter. So this is all being filtered. So now you'll have nice clean oil up here. Won't have to worry about it damaging or clogging up my sensor. It does come with O-rings. Now these things seem to want to fall out, but I think you'd just be able to get any type of Viton O-ring. Just put them in there. It's not a big deal. It also comes with new stainless hardware. So everything you need is right here. I need plugs. So you could just put your sensors in here, but sensors do fail, and they usually fail where the plastic is and oil comes out. 12 valve VR6s, all three of those sensor ports are used, so they all have sensors in them, so you can't get plugs from there. But when you go to a Mark IV, 12 valve and 24 valves, they all have one plug in. You go in there, and then you just pop this little guy out. This one's a 5, some are T30s, but you just pop it out. They have a crush washer on it. You can replace it. And I'm also going to be putting some hydraulic high pressure Loctite on, and just throw all those in. So these two ports are going to be plugged. This front port's going to be plugged. And I'm just going to have my sensor back here. And I'll just show you it when we're putting it in. Just bolted the filter housing on. You can do this without taking your intake manifold off and stuff like that. I simply just did it because, well, I made a horrible mess like usual. When I took that off and I flipped the motor, all the oil from the ports went everywhere. So I had to take off the intake manifold and do a big cleaning of the engine block. So that's the only reason why it's off. But I mean, this installed really easy. It's just 3 bolts. Just don't strip them out. It's not a big deal. The this low dollar motorsports sensor, it does tuck in just behind everything. Remember, my oil cooler's deleted. So if you were doing this and you had to get rid of your oil cooler, if you had the oil cooler on there, I just took one of the oil cooler hoses, and I think it was this one, and just left it on, and then this would have went around to the oil cooler, and it just goes up to the crack pipe. That's how I deleted it. It's not a big deal. You could also just plug them off. It's up to you. Just like I have this one over here capped off. I think the only reason I did this is because these caps are like $20 a piece. This hose I already had. That's it. Another thing I wanted to show you guys, I'm sure people know, but my injectors, I run E85 on this car. Even though I flushed it with regular pump gas, these still do get some buildup in them, so you just kind of clean them out with brake clean, and you put an air gun on the back side of this and hold it in your hand, and you just blow through, and then you'll if there's anything in it, you'll feel it in your hand, but at least you'll know they're open. That's as much as I'm cleaning them. So these are all good to go. Regular old 1.8T one goes right on. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if this is something that you guys would be interested in. I'll put the link in the description. I think this is a pretty worthwhile mod, especially for how many issues I was having with that stock housing. This should make one less failure happen. I mean, I'm just, you try to do things as cheap as possible, and you still gotta buy stuff. It's no matter what. So I'm still waiting to hear back on the clutch. I'll let you guys know that, but I wanted to try to get a video out for you guys. So yeah, just give me a like, comment, subscribe, share videos if you want. Hopefully I'll see you guys out at the track.